Well, New South Wales students will no longer be allowed to use their mobile phones in the classroom. A statewide ban of devices at public high schools comes into effect today as Term 4 gets underway. The move, which was an election promise from the Minns government, follows years of concerns that phones could be impacting students' learning and wellbeing. Principals can decide on the mobile phone management option that best suits their school. And joining me now live for more on this is digital behaviour analyst Dr. Joanne Orlando, a leading expert in the field of children and technology. Good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. So the Premier is saying that he wants to improve educational and wellbeing outcomes. Do you think that the ban will achieve that?
Well, it's not a bad move, but there's no evidence to suggest that it will actually achieve that. You know, school and learning are quite complex places, so just removing a phone isn't necessarily going to raise academic standards or stop students from bullying. There's actually no evidence to show that that will happen when we look to overseas, where bans have been in place for quite a while.
So then realistically, what sort of an impact will it have?
Yeah, well, I think there's a lot of hope in this ban. You know, Chris Minns said at the time, there's no evidence to support it, but his reason for giving it is it's not going to hurt. I think, once we come out of school holidays, parents are very well aware of how much time their children spend on screens and are quite overwhelmed by it. So we're looking to schools to help to manage that. So I think in terms of a popularity thing among parents, I think that's where these bans kind of fit in. One of the issues around it is that, on the other hand, while we have bans on one hand, on the other hand, they've just stated that artificial intelligence will be used next year in schools. So that makes it quite a very complicated technology space and one we need to think about in terms of whether bans are the right move or whether we should be putting our resources and energy into helping children to learn to use technology in a much better way.
One of the suggestions as well from the New South Wales government that it will help limit cyberbullying, particularly within the classroom. Is that your view that it will indeed help stop cyberbullying when kids are at school?
Well, it may. There's no reason to suggest that it wouldn't. But if we look to the evidence once again, the majority of bullying that actually takes place is face-to-face bullying and doesn't necessarily happen during school time. So as soon as children leave the school gates, they've got their phone in hand, they're out of the kind of school environment, and unfortunately bullying can continue. So at best, it can put bullying on pause, and that's of course a good thing, but it's not the solution to, removing bullying from school or from young people's lives.
Some parents have raised concerns their kids won't be able to contact them. Have you got any advice for parents?
Yeah, I think so. I think they have to put into place other kind of organisational details. I know schools do struggle a lot with parents contacting their children during school time, not aware that it's class time. They're just kind of contacting their children about dinner or pick-up arrangements. I think parents and families are going to have to do a lot more pre-planning before the school day. But if your child does have health issues and things where you need to contact them to make sure that their ongoing health, then you can make arrangements with the school. So it's not a cutting all parents off. There is kind of a one-by-one, case-by-case basis as well.
Good advice, Dr. Joanne Orlando. We have to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.